Are we recording?
Yeah, now we're recording.
Okay, perfect. So just to recap, we just did section 1, which was the motion to commence meeting, which we had people vote on, and we did the section 2, which is the call to order, and Sash just did the roll call. We're moving on to section 3, which is the land declaration. So on behalf of the Rideau River Residence Association, I would like to acknowledge the Algonquin Nation, whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Carleton University also acknowledges the location of its campus on the traditional and unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation. In doing so, Carleton acknowledges it has a responsibility to the Algonquin people and the responsibility to adhere to Algonquin cultural protocols. So now we'll be moving on to section 4, which is approval of the agenda. So once again, we're going to be using our voting function. So I'm just going to relaunch the poll. So this motion is to approve the agenda. Okay, thank you all that voted. I'm just going to be sharing the results. 21 people approved to approve the agenda. Thank you. So now we're going to be moving on to section 5, which is the executive's report. For this section, we had a great idea of showcasing each executive's reports in bulletin job points below. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can all see that. So to start off, we're going to go 5.1, which is the president's report. So I'm going to pass on the floor to Jaden right now to speak on the executive's report of presidency.
Yeah. So I met with a lot of you during our committee meetings this month, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm officially out of quarantine. So when I met with you, I was quarantining in Nova Scotia, but I'm out, I'm free. Anyways, jumping into my report. So starting off with NSARS, our RRRA counselor, Joy Hugo, led the initiative to create a collective video message from RRRA, CUSA, and members of the Carleton Nigerian community in support of disbanding the Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Nigeria. This was the call to action video that we hope helped raise awareness throughout the residence community and Carleton as a whole. You can find the video available on RRRA's YouTube channel. Early November, we held our virtual campaign at Masterboard Pack-Up, which kicked off when students returned from Reading Week. This was run by RRRA Council and led by our COVID-19 committee. The goal of the campaign was to actively promote the COVID-19 guidelines in residence. We worked with Housing Residence Life, Carleton Wellness, Ottawa Public Health, as well as student groups such as CUSA, SBSS, and CASHI. Overall, really great feedback, and we're really happy with how it all played out. The videos are still available on our IGTV, so check them out. President's meeting. So this month, I was able to meet with the presidents from our different student associations. It was a very informal meeting and just a way for us to all get to know each other more, but it was overall a great discussion. We learned about each other's associations and discussed how we can support each other in this new virtual world. Wellness Town Hall. Mid-November, Sash and I attended the Wellness Town Hall, which included many different student groups such as CUSA Rise, CUSA Wellness, and Stigma Ends at CU, as well as Carleton Wellness. And during this meeting, we just discussed every association's different supports and looked at room for collaboration in the future. Social Wellness Live, our executives also took part in an Instagram Live with CUSA Wellness for their Social Wellness Week. Jenna, Sash, and I each shared our experiences with social wellness and how we managed to stay socially active, especially during COVID-19. Committee updates, I'm just going to leave for our committee chairs to give during the reports later. Upcoming for me, fall orientation. So currently, Jenna and I are sitting on the fall orientation hiring board. We've been looking over applications, and I believe interviews kick off early December. I actually saw a few counselors apply for positions, so happy to see that all of you are continuing to stay involved in leadership at Carleton. SOAR conference. So the 7th annual SOAR Student Leadership Conference will be taking place on Saturday, January 30th, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm excited to announce that the FEO has offered free tickets to all of our counselors. So that's super exciting. So if you are able to attend, I definitely recommend. It's a great leadership opportunity. I will provide more updates in the Slack group regarding tickets later on. Midterm report, we will be presenting our midterm report early next semester to council. This is essentially just a report on what we have accomplished so far in our first term. The RRRA report, currently we are preparing our next report, which is set to come out tomorrow. This is essentially an executive report highlighting the work we have done for the months of October and November. And the first report is available now on our website, so feel free to check that out. So we have been thinking hard about our RRRA executive election coming up in March, which is really crazy to say. been a thrill so far and that some of you are thinking about running the election. I honestly can say that even though this year has been like more quiet being online, that you all made me so proud, and it's great to see that you have been so engaged and you all have so much potential. Overall, I hope that some of you are actually thinking about running. I know that some of you have reached out to me already and put forward some ideas on how we can ensure this election is super fair and runs smoothly for everyone. We will be introducing election workshops again this year to help prepare all candidates, and we hope to start these early February after the writ has been dropped. More election updates will come at our next council meeting, where we'll be inviting in our CEO and DEO to speak to council. And yeah, that's all from me. If you have any questions, you can reach me, president@raw.ca, or on Slack.
Okay, thank you, Jaden. So keeping with this motion, we're now going to go to 5.2, which is the Vice President Administration's report. So passing the floor to Sash.
Awesome, thank you. Well, hello committee members and guests. Once again, thank you for being here at our November council meeting. Here are some updates that we've been working on this past month. Starting with our store abstentions, things are still running smoothly. We do run into the occasional supply hiccup as our turnaround times have been different this year due to reduced sales, but all in all, we are doing well given the circumstances. We did have a little fun Halloween sale this past month in an effort to use up some of our backroom supply before it expires, and that went pretty well. Moving on to our awareness campaign, we held a successful virtual awareness campaign in early November called Mask Up or Pack Up, as many of you have already seen. In preparation for this event, we converted our office space into a small studio with filming and lighting equipment. We did this because we realized that as many things are more virtual this year, we want to make sure that we were able to upload quality content with good video and sound. This new studio of ours has already become so useful as we were able to conduct all of our virtual interviews and live events during our Mask Up and Pack Up campaign from our new studio. Most notably, we were able to use this space in collaboration with the CUSA Wellness Live event. We're excited to continue to bring better content as we move along and prepare for our winter semester projects as well. I also want to take this time to briefly talk about our Parliament Hill program. The Parliament Hill program is a student-led program run by RRRA, in where we match students to MPs in their offices for volunteer work. This is a great program that gives students the chance to gain valuable experience and make great connections. This year, due to COVID-19, most MPs were unable to take volunteers as they were working remotely, but fortunately, we have heard back from a few that are still interested. We hope to send out a recruitment post to students in the coming weeks as we finalize the details with the MPs. And also this year, we have put much more focus into our virtual events and online presence. We knew that with everything being held virtually again, we need to put more focus on our online resources, mainly our website. We've been working hard to update our website and to help showcase more of our events and have the potential to host events and elections in the future from our website. So we are excited to announce that the first version of this new website should be out now. We are still looking on the back end with developers, so if you do run into problems, please do reach out to us and let us know. We're always trying to make sure that it's working smoothly. Regarding our committees, this year has brought with it a whole new set of challenges, and that goes for committees as well. A lot of our committee members have been having to navigate around these new COVID-19 rules, and due to many of the rules and regulations, they change at a moment's notice. We can make it really hard for us to come to a conclusion on some of our decisions. So due to this, our committee plans to tackle sustainability issues were put on hold as the university introduced new rules when we went back into stage 2. Since then, we have been working hard to find new ways we can address student issues while adhering to the new health and safety guidelines that are constantly always being changed. And lastly, we have 2 new positions that we are excited to fill. We are hiring for the CEO and DEO for the upcoming RRRA 2021 elections, as Jay also mentioned. This is an amazing opportunity for students who want to gain valuable experience and make connections along with the student leadership community. So to learn more about these positions, please visit our website, and we look forward to your applications. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sash. Now we're just going to move on to 5.3, which is, the Vice President's Programming's report. So I'm going to pass the floor on to Jenna to have a moment to speak.
Hello, everyone. Hi, counselors. It's nice to see everyone again. So this month, my team and I have been hard at work doing things like campaigns, events, and meetings to ensure we are continuing to have a successful, safe, and fun year. I have been working closely with my special events and community outreach committee members to plan fun events for the past month and for the upcoming year. So this month, RRRA has hosted 3 events for the residents community. The first two events were Halloween-themed virtual events. We did a costume contest and a pumpkin carving contest, so students could get the opportunity to win a $50 Uber Eats gift card. For the pumpkin carving contest, students were required to provide themselves with their own pumpkins and decorations. We reimbursed every participant with a $25 worth of supplies. But both of these contests unfortunately had relatively low participation rates compared to like the Frosh events we held, but that was expected. But for the students who did participate, we got to see their awesome costumes and pumpkins, so that was really fun. I also planned a speed mingling event with my committee, and this took place on Friday, November 21st. The platform we used for this event was Zoom. This speed mingling event was similar to the last one we hosted, but we took the feedback we got for the last one and changed it up a bit. For example, the last one was on Discord, and we switched to Zoom, and we also provided students with kind of a longer and more fun game. And there were two lucky winners of this event that won a $25 gift card of their choice. This event had the most participation out of the 3 events we did this month, so that was really great. And I think the students had a really fun time, and it was fun for us execs to get to know some new faces around campus, and also get to know a little bit more about you counselors who participated. Each event we had has helped us grow like even more, and I'm just really excited for the events that we have coming up this year. So throughout the month, I have taken part in multiple meetings with other stakeholders. One of the meetings I took part in was the Fall Orientation Student Group Evaluation. In this meeting, stakeholders discussed all the ins and outs of fall orientation, and all the members of the meeting gave their feedback of the events from Frosh and gave some suggestions as to what we can improve in the future for the next fall orientation, so for next year. I also took place in the CUX programming committee meeting, and so we discussed past events, future events, and future possible collaborations with other stakeholders and other organizations, so that should be really interesting. And on Friday, November 13th, the special events and community committee had their meeting, but I'll let the newly re-elected committee chair speak about this. But as for the future, we have some really fun Christmas events coming up in December, and next semester we have some really exciting things planned. So I'm just really excited for what's to come, and I can't wait to share all of our ideas with you guys when that time comes. So anyways, yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Jenna. So now we're gonna move on to our next item on our agenda, which is the committee report. So 6.0 is committee reports. We're gonna start off with 6.1, which is the Constitutional Review Committee. So we're gonna have the chair of the Constitutional Review Committee speak, passing on the floor.
All right, thank you, Q. I guess I'll speak to what we talked about. We didn't really have a committee report last meeting because we hadn't met yet, I believe. So I'll recap both of the meetings so far. First meeting, we elected a chair in quotes, which was me. According to the Constitution, I believe it's Jay, the president, who's actually the chair of the committee. But they brought me along for the ride just to help out and bring a counselor representation there. The committee discussed a number of things in that first meeting, including changing the format of our RRRA agendas, just small technical changes, considering more student representation on the Constitutional Board, which is like our judicial branch of RRRA. There's 3 members that are from council and only 2 who are at large, so we're considering maybe increasing that number so they were equal or so. Another line item we discussed was an emergency policy to deal with COVID-19 and such other unforeseen emergencies in the future. This could include widening the scope of the COVID-19 committee that already exists and changing the name, maybe increasing their mandate, stuff like that. The most major topic we talked about in that first meeting was campaign reform, specifically allowing candidates for the executive to run as independents without being on a team or a slate, right? So this would make our election similar to CUSA. This was really meant to just be a temporary remedy because of the difficulties of COVID-19 and online campaigning and the difficulties of really interacting with a lot of people from other buildings, other floors. We thought that allowing independent candidates would be pretty reasonable during this time, and we'd run on a trial basis so that whomever the execs next year are, they would then choose whether to keep or to scrap that policy. So in the second meeting, we really just reiterated the same points and discussed them further. One of the things we discussed in the second meeting was modernizing the Constitution's language. A lot of it is outdated, so we're probably going to look into that. We came to really a common consensus for the campaign reform amendments. We all agreed, and it seems like a number of Jay's other committees were also consulted about these changes, that these changes would be temporary for just the 1 year. And then we specify the technical details that they would be incorporated by way of the existing online elections policy of RRRA. They'd be added as amendments to that document. But any concrete action on this topic, on this policy, would wait for the selection and the advice of our CEO and DEO. We also asked some more policy questions related to the functioning of the online election, just details about how the campaign will run. And those questions will also be forwarded to the CEO and DEO by the time that they are chosen. So that's about it. And the CPRC will meet again, I think it's this coming Friday at 2:30. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Davin. We're going to move on to 6.2, which is the Financial Review Committee. So I'm going to ask the chair of that committee to come up front and speak forward.
All right, awesome. So I'm the chair for financial review. So I'll go over what we went over in our last meeting. This was a rather short meeting for us, so this will be quick. We discussed that we're actually in the process right now of switching to a new accountant team to take over the raw accounts. And we're waiting on that flip over to occur and be settled to create a COVID-19 emergency budget in case things are closed, things go off again because of the unpredictable nature of the pandemic. And then secondly, we discussed that next semester, we're going to bring in an educator for the committee to learn more about finances, possibly an accountant, and that we may open this to all council members to join to educate everyone. And that we'll also be partnering that with SBSS for that program and that initiative. And that's everything we really talked about. If anybody wanted to add anything or had any questions, you're welcome to.
Okay, thank you, Morgan. I'm going to move on to 6.3. I think what we'll do is at the end, we'll have like a broad question period for any of the chairs to speak on any questions. So we're going to move on to 6.3, which is the Food Services Committee. So if we can have a representative, the chair representative from that committee come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am here on behalf of Drew Riscano, the chair who was elected recently to the Food Services Committee. On November 18th, what I'm given at least are a few takeaways, and none of them seem too well. Most of what I have here, CAF's line distance does not seem too effective. We have issues where the problems with social distancing, not being able to eat in the CAF is making people feel more isolated because they can't eat with their friends. And because of that, people tend to favor Oasis more. And then there's general comments that the committee has received when it comes to just food in general. The menu does not have enough variety, especially for vegans and for those who have dietary restrictions. People would rather Uber food or cook as a result. It's not necessarily promoting healthy eating habits. So people have extremely limited options. Food is generally really oily. We have issues of CAF lacking flavor for food, or there would be too much salt. And quite funnily enough, here in the minutes, CAF should stop cooking international food if they can't cook it properly. Take with that what you wish. On the terms of sustainability, we have issues. The social media campaigns help reduce waste, promote reusable bags, metal straws, and cutlery, so that is a positive. On the other hand, the use of plastic straws in the CAF causes a lot of waste. We have issues where people are just generally not a big fan of taking stuff out. And then when it comes to feedback, Napkin Talk is being used by less people because it can only be used once. That needs to be fixed to be an ongoing system for feedback. We have, what else in here? Suggestions on improvement are limited by COVID-19 rules. And overall, people are not satisfied with the CAF in its current form. And survey cards do not seem to be too effective. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Simon. As a proxy for Drew, we're going to move on to 6.4, which is the Residence Issues Committee. So if I can have the chair or representative from that committee come up to speak. Sorry, I'm just going to repeat. Do we have anyone from the Residence Issues Committee?
That would be me.
Sorry.
And right.
Okay, so you have the floor.
Okay, so during our last meeting, we talked about a up and coming health and awareness campaign, and we decided on the name of a rise up. Okay. Right. Okay. My apology. So yeah. So during the meeting, we came up and talked about our up and coming campaigns. The first one being a health and awareness campaign for mental health called Rise Up Residence, and where we talked about the slogan, and we mainly discussed the slogan as so far for the campaign. And then we also talked about having a future campaign for Pride Month and for Black History Month. And that was most of what we talked about during our meeting.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys, I have to grab my charger. Okay, so we're going to move on to 6.5, which is the Political Action Sustainability Committee. So I'm going to pass on the floor to the chair and representative of the Political Action and Sustainability Committee.
Hi, everyone. So this month we discussed further plans surrounding waste management. As we were unsure of costs for adding more physical recycling facilities, we decided to make our first priority creating an awareness campaign surrounding waste management. This campaign would inform residents as to proper recycling procedures, sustainability facts, and easy steps for making their habits more sustainable. We think that this campaign is more important than ever as the CAF continues to be limited to takeout, which is creating very large amounts of waste. And it's abundantly clear if you just look at some of the garbages that people don't know how to properly dispose of this. So we've been brainstorming and gathering information for the campaign over the past few weeks, and we intend to proceed with the campaign on social media as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you for that update. Now we're going to move on to 6.6, which is a Special Events and Community Outreach Committee. So if we have a representative or chair willing to speak to that committee, that would be great.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm the newly elected chair of the committee. We had a meeting on November 13th, and the first thing we did was electing a new chair, which was myself. Then we talked about residence formal, which is usually held each year, and we discussed what we could do instead because we can't do that because of COVID, obviously. We discussed having a fashion show over Zoom and or having different events and games for people to go to and prizes and such. And as Jenna said in her report, we also had a speed mingling event. So at the meeting, it was before the event happened. So we discussed how to make it better and like what games to play and how to better connect after the event was over by like leaving Instagram usernames in the chat or something. And I'm sure we'll discuss how the event went, at our next meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to our last committee report, which is 6.7, the COVID-19 committee. So if you have a representative willing to speak on that committee.
Yeah, awesome. I can do that. So I'm the chair of this committee. Thanks for the floor. So first what we went over in our meeting was we just reviewed our Mask Up or Pack Up campaign and talked about some successes and possible improvements for next time. We said that we had really good counselor participation, so thank you so much to everyone for that and reposting things in your stories to spread awareness. We decided to try and have less infographics each day in the next campaign if we are to do so. We said that it reached students really well. We wanted to try to condense posts more. There was really strong engagement on the videos, so try to focus on videos. That it was good that we had the IG lives available afterwards because it let people view them not like past those specific hours. And we also received positive feedback from Ottawa Public Health for running the campaign. So really good job on that to everyone. And then we discussed what we're going to do for our December infographic, and we decided to focus on quarantine rules since some people are going to provinces and out of the country possibly where they have to quarantine, might have to quarantine when they come back. We also decided to refer to our previous posts from the Mask Up or Pack campaign so that it's not too repetitive and that people can look at what we posted before. And that will also reiterate social distancing when people are going home since it is another social circle and it exposes a lot more people. And then lastly, we just went over general concerns, which is that a lot of people aren't wearing masks in the back of res-coms, and that before the lineup in the cafeteria was not 2 meters apart. I believe it's been fixed now. And then we also discussed the feedback survey about online school during COVID-19. At this point, I'm not sure if it's closed or not, but if you can still fill it out, I believe you get entered in a raffle to win money if you fill it out. Then you can put your voice in there. And that's everything we talked about. So you can have the floor back.
Okay, thank you. So this adjourns the 6.0 committee reports. Just on a personal note, I'd like to thank all the chairs for taking the time to do diligently bring forward a summary of what they discussed in their committees. I have to say, from my 2 years of being council chair on RRRA, I have to say this year the chairs of each committee are doing an incredible job bringing forward great ideas and really good conversations. So I'm really, really happy to see that and excited to see the things that you guys are formulating. So now we're just going to move on to, sorry, there's no section in here that outlines this, but I just want to open up the floor to anyone who has any questions, concerns for any of the committees or points being addressed. So if any counselor has any questions or concerns, you can bring it forward right now. We can discuss that openly.
I just had a question for the Constitutional Review Committee, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
I was just wondering how the election funding is going to work for independent candidates, because I know there's some refunds that happen from RRRA. I'm just wondering if that's going to be different from past years with like the group of people that run together.
Yeah, and thanks, Caitlin. Oh, you want to take it, Jay? Sorry.
No, it doesn't matter. We talked about this in our meeting too, but Davin, you take it if you know.
Yeah, sure. I actually forgot to mention it, so thanks for bringing it up, Caitlin. Thanks. Basically, RRRA gives out a certain amount of money. It's around $700, and they refund every slate for that each year, I believe, or up to a certain percentage of whatever they spend. So what we were thinking is for independent candidates, we just divide that number by 3. I believe last year, because the online election, and Jaden, you can like clarify this because I might be guessing, it was like around $300 a refund. So it would be divided by that number again. So thanks for that.
Cool, thank you.
Okay, opening up back the floor to any counselors who may have any questions or concerns for any other committee reports that were heard today.
I think it's for the political act. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I think it's for the Political Action Sustainability Committee. Whoever was discussing the campaign for waste management. I know that Carlton Dining already does like their own. I don't know if it's like Trash Tuesday or something like that, and they actually do go over like how to properly recycle. So would this just be like RRRA's own version of that and kind of like repeating that information? Just curious.
Kind of. We wanted to go really in depth and have not only instructions on how to recycle, but also like sustainability facts, like numbers on like waste and how much waste we produce to kind of get the impact across, as well as things like plastic bags, like not advertising, but promoting where plastic bag recycling can be found, or like advocating for other bringing your own plastic bag, reusing your plastic bag, stuff like that. And yeah, kind of a reminder, because evidently what we have right now isn't working. So, because I don't know if anyone else has seen, but half the time when I go to the garbages, there's like piles and piles of plastic bags. So we were hoping to like have a video of someone recycling and maybe do like a Q&A or something like that, just to really get the word out there. And I think the key to that is also with like the facts, to be like, this is how much waste we produce and this is what's the result of that waste. So just kind of really to drive the point home until we can take further steps to provide further recycling facilities.
Cool, thanks for clarifying.
I have a question about that stuff too. I know at one point, I can't remember if it was here or in a committee, but we were talking about like possibly, well, I guess we were talking about this as a group in Slack, but about possibly getting those reusable bags. But then we figured out we couldn't because we were going back into stage 2 and we thought the CAF was going back to in person. But like that hasn't happened, and I don't know if that will be happening. So like if we continue with this, with like takeout in the CAF, will there be a chance that we can like follow through with that and do the reusable bags?
I'm not 100% sure. At our last committee meeting, the word was that we were going to go back to in person, because we met quite a while ago. So I haven't heard any updates because after that, and nobody seems to know what's going on with whether we're going back to in person or not. But I can check up on that and if let you know if you like.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I was just curious if
Yeah,
anyone
I can
did know.
quickly jump in on that too. So we did talk about that in our committee. We had plans and we were even like pretty close to ordering reusable bags that we wanted to kind of hand out to students. But before we can do anything like that, we had to run it through housing, of course. And then that was like right at the beginning of stage 2. And that's when housing told us like everything is on hold right now. They can't like let us know what's going on with the CAF. And then once stage 2 was introduced in the province, then they had to make their own protocols. So that kind of like we had to wait until they had their new rules set up. So that's where all our plans kind of got scrapped. And then when we did hear back, it was a while later, they told us that they weren't accepting reusable bags at this time, just for like safety concerns. And like the CAF has told us themselves that the top priority right now is COVID safety. And because of that, a lot of things are kind of like falling to the side, such as like reusable bags and like being more sustainable. It's just something that they have to hold top priority right now is safety. So unfortunately that they told us like that's just kind of how it is right now. But we are looking to revisit the idea once things kind of loosen up. And it is on their mind. So we did say like we'll touch base with them again once things kind of change. So we are optimistic, but we're not sure right now.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Okay, and if those are all the questions, I'm going to move on to section 7, which is the CUSA report. So if we do have a CUSA representative.
Yeah, no, Kathleen texted me. She can't make it. And I haven't heard from Kashi, but I don't see them here. So.
Okay, so we're just going to move on from section 7 and motion number 8. We're going to skip both of those as there are no representatives from Kashi or CUSA for this council meeting. We're going to move on to motion number 9, which is the motion to discuss new business. I'm going to reactivate the poll function just to make sure we can all vote upon this to discuss new business. So everyone has the opportunity to vote for this motion. I wish I had like elevator music to play right now. Okay, thank you to everyone who voted. So this motion successfully passes. So now we're gonna have an opportunity to just open up the floor to any counselors or any executives to discuss any new business or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't have anything like very specific, but I saw someone ask about the tunnels in the chat, and we did meet with Laura like last week, I think, and she mentioned that they might open the tunnels for winter, but they're not sure yet. They're just trying to figure it out with Ottawa Public Health because of the whole insulation. If anything, it would be like you can only go in the tunnels obviously to get to where you're going, and there might be people there like monitoring, making sure like you're not hanging out there. But I feel like that'll be something more to come in second semester. And then with the CAF going back to in-person, she said they're still trying to figure that out. I think they're just going to let it go out for this semester, and the next semester they'll reevaluate when students come back.
Okay, is there anyone else, any counselors or executives who have any thoughts, concerns, questions, or insults to talk about?
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to mention was that I know this year they announced the online determination really late in the year, and I know a lot of people had concerns about when they would release the information for next year as to whether it's online or not, and we were all kind of wondering if that can happen earlier this year so we can make housing plans and that, because it's really up in the air because of it.
Like online schooling, like school, yeah.
Yeah, like if they're deciding if it's going to be online next year or not, just so people can figure out their housing.
Yeah, I don't think they made like a final decision yet. And I remember last year they did call it pretty late. Like Carleton was like late in the summer. But I can definitely bring that up at our next. We have a student luncheon next week actually, so we can bring that up to President Benoit.
Yeah, that's actually a great question. From what I remember, I think Carleton made the decision like in June, I believe so. But I know I was talking about this earlier at the pre-committee with some people in group number 1, but I was just talking about how for all of you living on residence this year, January is a great time when you go home to just reflect and think about what you want to do moving forward for next year. If you're planning on, moving in with friends, January is a great time to talk to your parents about that and come back and start house hunting and looking towards that. I was also talking about the option of, either way, whether, school will be online or what sort of thing may occur for next year. Like the RFs will still always be an option. So I know RFs tend to have their interviews, I'm assuming, right when we get back. I believe that's when I had my interview last year. So that's also an option for you to consider. Being an RF is a great opportunity to, make some money and get free res, get free meal plan, and it might also give you the opportunity of getting that residence experience that you kind of missed out on this year. So that'll be a lot of different questions and thoughts and considerations, but it's a really good idea for all of you guys to just spend January thinking about those things, about where you want to live next year and whether you want to apply for RRRA or if you want to come back or online school and things like that. So if anyone has any questions, concerns, or anything like that, I'm sure we can open that up on the floor and discuss things like that. Everyone's like, no. That's totally fine. Okay, so with this being said, I'm just gonna give a last opportunity for any counselors or executives to discuss new business or to, relay any questions or concerns. With that being said, I'm gonna have the motion to adjourn this meeting. So if everyone can just respond to the poll. Oh, the poll hasn't ended, oops. If anyone can just respond to this new poll, which is the motion to adjourn this meeting. If someone says no, I'm gonna be really confused. Okay, thank you everyone for voting, and the motion successfully passes. So we're gonna end this meeting. I want to thank everyone for coming out again, and for all the chairs for bringing forward, really good summaries and bringing forward really good ideas. With that being said, Jaden, would you like to say any final words for this meeting?
No, I'm good. Actually, no, wait. Oh, I guess, I don't know if I can ask this because we adjourned the meeting. I was just going to say, when would everyone prefer to have our December meeting? Like earlier on before exams or maybe later on? Like, we can talk about this in the Slack group too, but I just want to put
Can we do this like after the finals? Because like,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
After exams, as in like Christmas?
Like, yeah,
Maybe
like
do a poll in Slack.
like the 23rd or like the 24th, probably like right after finals, because I'm assuming most of us don't have time.
I feel like the 24th is not a good idea.
That's Christmas
Yeah,
Eve, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone celebrates the holidays though, so that does make sense. But we can also look
Yeah.
into doing like December 28th or like 29th, because New Year's isn't
So
until
like
like
during
the
the
31st.
break, yeah.
Yeah, okay. The 25th is better. Okay. Yeah, we can continue this conversation in Slack.
Yeah, for that though, can we give like more notice in front of it, just because I know a lot of people are going home and working, so I just have to work out like schedules around things to be at it.
Yeah, for sure. Also, we can talk about that right after this now. But, cool.
Okay, with that being said, we'll discuss that further in Slack. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Great meeting.